Okay, so I'm going to do question 7, and then I'm going to go back to number 6 for the equation solving. Okay, so the first step on this question is to get the trig value. So can you isolate cos theta? So you're going to be moving the 8. And then you're going to have to divide by 5. Okay, so that's step 1. That's called a trig value. Step 2. Tell me what quadrant this is in. So Astica, where are you? Cos, negative. You can be in 2 places. Cos, negative. Where are you going to be? Okay, so 2 and 3. Step 3, I need to get my reference angle. So I'm going to cos inverse. What's really important here? Remember my saying? Don't put the negatives into the math. We already applied the negative in the location. So cos inverse Okay, and step 4 is figure out where you actually are. So where am I right here? I'm 36.9 degrees smaller than 180. Does that make sense? I'm smaller than 180. So 143.1 degrees. And in this quadrant, I'm 36.9 degrees bigger than 180. So 216.9. And your answer needs to kind of make sense, knowing that whatever this is, it's between 180 and 270. I know that. Okay. So those are their 4 steps. We're going to get a trig value, we're going to get the quadrants, reference angle, and a final answer. That's how we're going to do it. Okay, when you look at this equation, think about the algebra to get this. How do you get tan alone when you see something that has tan squareds and tans? So we can't isolate. Remember our algebra? We can't isolate. We have 2 variables, so we have to have a 0, and then we're going to try to factor or quadratic formula it. Okay, so does this factor? So I'm going to put 2 tan x and 1 tan x. Okay, first times first makes tan squared. Last and last need to make 2. So I'm going to have a 2 and a 1. I know that. Can you play around? How would you put a 2 and a 1 in your blanks in order to make that a 3 combo? One of them is going to have to be negative, by the way. So see, can you play around with your foil? You got 2 things to test out. So if you get it wrong, you're going to have 1 thing to erase. So I'm thinking a plus 2 there, which will make 4, and a minus 1, So do you see how I made all of my FOIL work? Okay, so now 10x in the first bracket is a half. Tan x in the second bracket is -2. Okay, all we did was this. Step 1. That's just the trig value, right? We didn't even solve for anything angle-wise. Okay, so tan a half. Astica. Where is that going to go with Astica? 1 and 3. Where is this one going to go if tan is negative? Well, opposite of the first one. Okay, so there we analyze the quadrants. Reference. So I'm going to tan inverse a half. And I get 26.6 degrees. Okay, so if you go 26.6 degrees this way, you land at 26.6 degrees. And this is 26.6 more than 180. Okay, next one, I'm going to tan inverse 2. Did you notice that I didn't do a -2, I just did 2, because I'm leaving out the negatives. Okay, so what value are you if you're 63.4 less than 180? And this last one, we haven't had it yet. How do you know how to do this one? What are you going to use for here? I'm that much smaller than 360. Does that make sense to you? I'm smaller than 360. You always use the x-axis, which is 0, 180, or 360.